strength and our Redeemer. Good morning. Remember a couple weeks ago it was Easter? Jesus on Easter made his first appearance, which was to Mary Magdalene, as she stood outside the tomb weeping in grief at the loss of the Lord. Mary didn't recognize Jesus. She thought he was the gardener. It took her a little bit to realize that it was Jesus, even though he came to her, even though he appeared before her first. It took her a while before she recognized him. And then last week, the first week after Easter, the second week of the resurrection, it was the disciples to whom Jesus appeared as they were locked in that little room in fear. But just like with Mary Magdalene, it took the body of the disciples a moment to realize that it was Jesus. Because Thomas wasn't there. He had to return, Jesus did, so that Thomas could put his finger in the side of the Lord and touch his wounds. So just like with Mary Magdalene, it took the disciples a little while to recognize that the Lord was with them. And this week in the Gospel, the story of which takes place immediately after what happened last week, it takes them a little while to recognize that it's Jesus. Here it is early in the morning, he's standing at the beach, and the disciples have come back from a long night of fishing. And once again, they don't see that it is Jesus, at least not right away, not until he tells them to cast their nets on the other side, and they bring in this record haul of fish. Then they begin to recognize who Jesus is. It's interesting that in these weeks after Easter, as the Lord is doing just what he said he would do, which is to come back, which is to be present from death, which is to rise again on the third day. It's interesting that for the faithful, who are really the key members of the gospel story, that they don't recognize Jesus at first, as he stands before the tomb, or in that small room, or there at the beach. You almost wonder, would they ever not recognize Jesus in their midst? And wonder, what does it take to recognize Jesus? What does it take for us to recognize Jesus? Is it possible that we don't see him when he's here in the middle of our lives? Are we like Mary, or Thomas, or Peter, saying, is that you, Lord? Because throughout my life, I've had people point to what they consider Jesus and talk about the person they consider Jesus to be, but I don't recognize him in what they're saying. A lot of Christians preach a Jesus of hate, or a Jesus of homophobia, or a Jesus that detests other religions and hates those who believe in him, a Jesus who comes to give you castigation, who casts you out without compassion, a Jesus without mercy, and a Jesus without love. And I'm standing on the beach, and I'm looking at the figure that they're describing, and I'm saying to myself, well, that doesn't look like Jesus to me. Where's the love? I think recognizing Jesus has something to do with love, with recognizing mercy and goodness, with recognizing that thing that our hearts in this world so desperately want, that thing that they beat to find, that thing which completes us and which fulfills us and which connects us to life. That's when I say to myself, oh, that's Jesus right there. That's what I long for. That's what we long for. Think of all the stories of connection in the gospel. All the people that Jesus feeds and connects to with his feeding, with his miracles, with his teachings. Think of all the people who just want to reach out and touch him and make that connection with the living God of life, the God of love. That's what we long for. That's when you see Jesus. And that's what Peter wants, just like all of us. Here he is this morning, after a long night of unsuccessful naked fishing. Here's Peter, he has caught no fish, and here on the beach is this figure. And they're not sure if it's Jesus or not, until he says, cast your nets on this other side. And they haul in all these fish. And I think that's when Peter begins to recognize that it's Jesus, but there's still something missing. There's still that connection with the heart. Seeing Jesus is about connecting with the heart. A lot of people, when they find out that I'm a priest, will talk to me about the times that they've read the Bible and how much they find Jesus Christ interesting. how they admire his politics, how they find his story to be uplifting and motivating. And they're talking as if I would talk about Plato, great philosopher, or as if I would talk about Huckleberry Finn. What an interesting character, and look at how he's lived his life, and it's fascinating. But it's a concept of Jesus. It's the intellectual curiosity of Jesus. It's that part of Jesus that touches our brains, but that's not what he wants. He wants to touch our hearts. He wants to change us. I'm not going to be changed by a lot of philosophers because they're not touching me here. There's an interesting moment in Christian history that I want to share this morning, because it's a moment that came right after the Reformation. And so in the time of the Reformation, there were these reformers like Martin Luther and John Calvin and other people who broke away from the Catholic Church. And they and the Catholics were in this great debate about what is the Holy Communion. What happens exactly here at the altar? And what happens to the bread and to the wine? So on the one hand, you have the reformers, you have the Protestants, who protested against the church, who held that these things are really a symbol. So like the wafer it's a symbol of Jesus Christ. It's not physically and actually his body. And on the other hand, you have the Catholic belief in transubstantiation, which believes that this is the actual and living body of Jesus Christ, that it's changed into Christ. And this debate between Protestants and Catholics go back and forth and back and forth. Does it change or does it not? Is it symbol or is it bread? And into this debate come the Anglicans, come our people. We are somewhere between these two groups because, we're not really Protestants. Technically, we didn't really protest in the same way that the others did. And we're not really Roman Catholics. We separated ourselves from Rome before all that. But the Anglicans, and in particular the theologian Richard Hooker, had this sense of what this mystery is all about. Because Hooker said, why do we come to church? What are we here for? Are we here to change bread? Or are we here to change hearts? Because if you're busy arguing about the bread, you're missing the whole point. Yes, the bread is important. Yes, the change that happens is important. But what good does it change bread unless we're touching the hearts of the faithful? Because our head can say all sorts of theological concepts and come up with these things, but unless it migrates down to this point where we interact with Jesus Christ, it's just theology. It's not life. It is the heart which finds Jesus at the beach. It is the heart which finds Jesus at the tomb. It is the heart which comes and finds Jesus in a locked little room out of fear. It is the heart which finds Jesus when we pray, when we weep, when we mourn, when we rejoice. It's the heart where Easter most happens. And Easter may happen unless we have Jesus in our heart. It may happen, but it's not really going to bring us alive. So the gospel today, Peter sees Jesus. He knows it's him on the beach. He doesn't really have, I would say, the full Easter experience, not until they have this exchange of the hearts. This great exchange where Jesus pulls Peter aside and he says, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And what he's really saying, do I have your heart? Do I have your heart? Do I have your heart? And Peter says, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then Jesus does what all good friends do. He gives him work. If I have your heart, then feed my sheep. Tend to my lambs. Feed my lambs. Which connects Peter not just to Jesus, but to everyone, to all of us. Because that's the work of the heart. Isn't it? Isn't this the work of the heart, to love each other? To love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. It's like Jesus is saying to Peter, it's great that I gave you all these fish, but the sign of Easter is not that you have a ton of fish. The sign of Easter is that you share these fish with others. That's what Easter is. It's our connection with the sheep. It's our connection with the world around us where Easter is made known and Jesus is made real, and that's what feeds our heart again and again and again. Our ability to do good deeds. You might think there's no magic bullet when it comes to finding Jesus Christ, but I think today we found the secret. We found the magic bullet. Feed my sheep, Jesus says. And I know the times when I cannot clearly picture the face of Jesus in my prayers. And I know the times when I wander around this cold world feeling a little bit lost. And I know the times when I feel like I'm at the end of my rope and I don't really know what to do. What I do is visit someone who's sick. Not long ago, I went to see a woman from the church who's a little bit older, who has some difficulty getting here. And you know, in these days after Easter, I'm just tired. And so it's raining, and I turn on the news, and that just makes me more tired. And I go to see this woman who is going to have surgery, and I go to her house, and she lets me in, and she gives me coffee, and we sit down and talk. And we have a nice visit, really nice conversation, and my heart is kind of warmed. And at the end of the visit, I pray for her. And then I go to the door, and open the door, and I look out, and across the street is the most beautiful tree. With, I don't know, Donna may know, or Liz Stevens may know the name of the tree. It's got pink flowers, and it's the kind of thing that only exists for these 2 weeks at the end of April and the beginning of May. And I looked at it, and I said to the woman, was that like this before I came in? Was that tree here before? And she said, yes, of course, it's been like that for a couple of days. And I had just walked right by it. Once again, I had not seen the living God and Jesus Christ as it stood right before me in the form of this tree. At least not until I came from visiting this woman with my heart kind of filled with love. It does something to you to connect to someone else. It does something that you cannot do on your own in quite the same way. When you extend your hand and you share your heart and you give your time and you give your attention to someone, especially if it's someone who might need a little bit of love, because your heart is the muscle of love. And it's a great way to see Jesus. And the amazing thing is, we can do it anytime we want. Whenever we feel loved, whenever we feel lost, whenever we feel down, whenever we need just a little bit more, all we have to do is call someone and go and visit them. We can even do it today. So go and see Jesus today. Amen.